we're getting more unstable, and that line starts to progress toward the east. This tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock, but what you'll see happen later today is as that line moves east, we'll start to see these counties drop off as the threat does drop off. And of course, we'll let you know so that you can go about your day here without being worried about these storms. Right now, the threat is highest from Pickens to Anderson to Clemson, Hartwell, Elberton, Abbeville, Greenville, Greenwood, up through Spartanburg. Basically, the I-85 corridor from Georgia up through the upstate of South Carolina all the way into the Charlotte area. Now, getting in closer here, you can see this includes Travelers Rest, Pickens. It does not include Oconee County, Rabun County, Habersham, Stevens, or Franklin County. That threat has come down a bit for you folks. It does not include Henderson or Buncombe County, but it does include the foothills of western North Carolina from McDowell to Rutherford to Polk County. Active alerts that we have right now. These are active dangerous storms moving through. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County right here that includes Easley, does include Clemson. We have had a history of this producing damaging winds in Oconee County. Just getting word from emergency managers there in Oconee County that we've got some trees down, some power outages, and some power lines down in Walhalla. If you're watching us online or on Facebook, let us know what you are seeing in your neck of the woods. If you can, send us a picture or a video in the U Local section if you can do so safely. Don't get out in this, though. This is a strong line pushing toward the east across Pickens County. There's a new scan coming in. Pickens, Easley, eventually into northern Greenville County yet again. The areas that I'm the most concerned about here at this moment are the areas that have not seen any rainfall quite yet. Spartanburg, Lawrence, Gaffney, Union, even parts of Anderson County. You are very unstable right now. You haven't had the rain to cool you down and kind of stabilize the atmosphere. Let's get in closer here to this cell in Pickens County. This warning goes until 11:15. Again, this has had a history of producing damage back toward Oconee County. This would be straight line wind damage, although it has shown some signs of some rotation. This is broad circulation right here. What we're getting, keep in mind our radar site right there, this green is going toward the radar in a fashion like that, where the red is going that way. That's the concern with these cells, as this line can begin to rotate and it will fluctuate. It'll start to rotate more strong, and then it will go down a bit. So watching this cell as it moves towards you folks in Easley, whether the rotation actually reached the ground or not, we don't think so quite yet, but this is some very strong winds heading right toward Easley here. Eventually, in between Greenville and Travelers Rest, heads up the Cherrydale area. You'll likely see that strong gust of wind here shortly. Pulling out a bit, I'll give you some perspective here. Our area, especially Greenville south toward Greenwood east, having the greatest risk for severe weather today. We're in that enhanced risk, which is the 4th category out of 6 of risks. You got the moderate category, which this is the first time this has been issued since 2011 during the tornado outbreak there for the Carolinas. That includes Raleigh, Charlotte, Columbia, over toward Myrtle Beach. This area, the most concerning throughout the day today for long track, multiple tornadoes possible in that area. Also, the wind threat is extremely high in this area. Not only a 45% chance of seeing damaging winds within a 25-mile point of anywhere here, but you got the hatch mark here, which just means that those winds could be in excess of 70 miles per hour. We've got a 30% chance of damaging winds from Greenville south and eastbound. Let me show you the next 12 hours because we are in that alert mode. Anytime you see the red icon there, just know that dangerous weather is happening. It's occurring right now. It's imminent. You need to be aware that that dangerous weather could last through around 2 o'clock. Now, we will still see some showers and some thunderstorms through around 5 or 6, but that threat for the severe storms shifts east toward the Columbia-Charlotte area, and that's when it will be very volatile. In fact, we've got new information here that's showing this computer model moving on through. I'm going to hop off here. I just heard an alert come down watching this closely here for parts of Pickens County. Let me show you this computer model here as it moves on toward the east here. Look at how these storms really flare up. I'll back it up here, do it again for you so you can see it. We've got some strong storms right now, but as this storm system moves toward the east into those more unstable areas, they really flare up. Look at that cell there over parts of Greenwood, Lawrence. This would be around 1 o'clock. Air mass so warm and unstable at that point that that's where our tornado threat will come, and the strong damaging winds. We have had a history of these storms producing damage in their wake, so this is just getting started for some folks there in Anderson, Lawrence, and Greenwood. Let's move forward a little bit more in time. You go through around 3 o'clock. That's when our threat for the severe weather starts to come down a bit. It's not zero, but it is lower. The threat really shifts toward the Grand Strand, the Piedmont of North Carolina, the Midlands, In fact, multiple tornadoes possible out this way with this line as it moves through. The dire situation back that way. Let me bring you back to Live Super Doppler 4 HD. I've got a couple of storm reports here to tell you about. Oconee County 911 saying they've got several trees and power lines down behind that cell that is now in Pickens County. So let's get right into that cell because this is a dangerous storm that is knocking down trees in its wake. So you want to take note here in Pickens County. Where are you in relation in your house to some large trees? Maybe get on the other side of that house. You just want to take caution to that. As we move into the afternoon here, especially in areas like Greenville that haven't had a lot of storms yet, we could see these flare up with more intensity and pack more of a punch as they move on through. You can see Pickens, Travelers Rest, Greenville, down toward Anderson, now seeing some rain, but the strongest storm right now moving into downtown Pickens. In fact, this severe thunderstorm warning goes until 11:15. And in fact, now getting reports of some damage moving just east of Salem right there, directly behind this line. Let me turn on the velocity here. You can see how strong this wind is. Try to ID where the strongest is. Just looks like it just went through 6 Mile. Now moving into Pickens. Watching that closely. Let's turn on the rotation. Still seeing some broad rotation. It's not reaching the ground, but you've still got some rotation in this cell or in this line that's moving through the area. That's about the only rotation that we're seeing at the moment. That's certainly something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Getting word here from Transylvania County, the 911 center also reporting numerous roads are closed due to standing water and flooding. This area has had a tremendous amount of rain in a short period of time, as has Oconee County. The creeks and the streams are not able to handle the amount of water and runoff going into their streams. So Brevard down toward Rosman into parts of Oconee County now seeing pretty significant flooding to prompt a flash flood warning. We're broadcasting here on TV and online as well as Facebook. Nigel Robertson keeping an eye on what you're saying on Facebook, on social media. And, of course, we're going to keep you posted on that. Nigel, what are you seeing? What's kind of the pulse of the town right now?
Yeah, Christian, I can hear those alarms going off over there, so I'm going to let you check on that. And we're going to talk about a number of things. Right now on Facebook, over 1,000 people are monitoring and just talking about what they're seeing. We have a lot of people in Greenwood who say they're not seeing anything just yet. But as you were just talking about, as the system moves east, that we will intensify. So people in Greenwood should definitely keep their eye right here online and on air as this storm develops. And really all the way over to the Flat Rock area of Henderson County, seeing power outages. We were talking about this for the past hour about the storms and the issues going on in the Flat Rock area of Henderson County. And look at this. You can see more than 1,300 people reporting power outages, Duke Energy customers reporting power outages in Henderson County alone. And these numbers are beginning to pick up as more and more information starts coming in. So we do want to talk about tips. Since we are in a situation where the storm could get worse, and there is a tornado watch again until what time? Until 5 o'clock. Here are some tornado safety tips we want to repeat for you in the event of a tornado warning issued in the area. Again, right now we're in a watch, not a warning, but this is information you need to know. Your location, where to go. If you are inside, go to an interior room with no windows where you can be protected from glass and other flying objects. Those are critical information when tornadoes are in the area. If you're outside, hurry to the basement or nearby building, lie flat in a ditch or a low-lying area, lie flat, and protect your head and neck with your hands. We have been seeing a lot of unstable air, and Chris has been monitoring left and right to see what's happening and if this situation is getting worse. And again, we're talking about some kind of rotation going on in the Easley area towards Pickens County. But that's high up, right?
It's high up. It's in the middle parts of the atmosphere. So not enough to prompt an active tornado warning, but it's something we're watching very closely here on Live Super Doppler 4 HD because we do have these storms rotating. It's just not reaching the ground quite yet. It's something that will be with us really now through around 5 o'clock across the area. You can see this tornado watch does include the entire upstate with the exception of Oconee County. We're talking to you folks in Hartwell, Elberton, Anderson, Abbeville. Pickens and Greenville east through Greenwood, Lawrence, Spartanburg, Gaffney, and Union. Now, as this line moves through, you'll start to see some counties drop off here, and we'll let you know as soon as that happens so that we can sound the tornado threat has come to an end for you folks. But right now, unless you live in Franklin County, Stevens County, or Habersham, you're still in that threat there in parts of northeast Georgia. So we're watching this tornadic threat. Our wind threat is also very high. We have an active alert right now in Pickens County. This continues to be the strongest cell that we have on the board right now. You folks in Easley and Pickens, Pumpkintown, Dacusville, heading into parts of Greenville County shortly. You can see this line here starting to bow a little bit. That indicates that it's producing some strong gusty winds as it pushes off toward the east right here. Anderson, you're seeing some heavy rainfall right now. We're watching areas south and west of you, especially south, because we're starting to see some of those air masses get a little bit more volatile. The air mass get more volatile in that area, so wouldn't be surprised to start to see some more activity there. So this severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County goes until 11:15. Again, it does have some broad rotation, our Doppler radar, in an optimal location to be able to see that rotation, but it's higher up in the atmosphere and it's not reaching the ground. It's also not a tight circulation. It's something we're going to continue to watch, especially as it moves over into parts of Spartanburg County that have not seen a whole lot of rainfall yet this morning. Pulling out a little bit, I'll give you some perspective here on this whole line. As it moves toward the east, it's going to intensify. The air mass above us and at the surface here getting more unstable as the day goes on, and that's leading to this high threat for severe weather, which is just unheard of for, you see this issue maybe once or twice a year for parts of the country, maybe Kansas or Oklahoma. Here you see it for the Carolinas. The last time it was issued for the Carolinas, 2011. During the tornado outbreak there. So this is kind of an unprecedented situation for the Carolinas here. One of the highest risks of severe weather we've had in about 9 years or so here, 8-9 years. The wind threat is high east of Charlotte as well. In fact, a 45% chance of strong damaging winds in these areas. So this is something that we're certainly going to watch here in the next little bit. Watching the storm in Pickens, it's showing some broad circulation. I want to get you back to live Super Doppler 4 HD because this tornado watch is something that we're watching very closely. John Cesarich joins me now, and John, this is something that we're going to continue to watch as the afternoon goes on. We've been talking about this for a while now. The atmosphere is just so volatile, much like we had here during the Sunday storm that moved on through the area as well.
Right. How do the ingredients look this morning? Kind of looked at them briefly. And then but it looks like most of the ingredients that we had Sunday are to our east, but still, it's still a very unsettling situation that we're under that watch now. And we kind of talked about it the last couple of days, Chris. It would be really the central and eastern and southeastern part of the upstate and farther toward the I-77 corridor, and that's pretty much what's happening. But we're getting the flash flooding, which is heavy rain moving through. We're kind of working over the atmosphere a little bit ahead of that line. Let's hope that kind of holds true for at least a little while.
That would be some good news there. Getting reports behind these lines that move through of some damage from the straight line winds, power lines and trees down in Oconee County, Clemson, south toward parts of Franklin County and northeast Georgia, also up toward the Henderson County area. But this watch right here, the Storm Prediction Center just issuing a possibility of strong long-track tornadoes along the I-77 corridor. Travel that way, not you wouldn't
not advised.
That, yeah.
Not advised. Absolutely, Chris. Yeah, from I-77 all the way to the beach, all the way to the beaches of the Carolinas, and we talked about it yesterday. That's where they actually had the enhanced. Now it's a moderate risk, right? They've upgraded that. So look at all this rain coming in, Chris. We're getting reports of 1, 2, 3 inches of rain already.
Yeah, it's pouring and training over the same areas, which is the problem for the flash flooding. Brevard, Transylvania County, numerous roads closed. You don't want to be traveling there because of the standing water. The creeks and streams are spilling their banks. Severe thunderstorm warning in Pickens here. Again, it's showing some broad circulation, not reaching the ground there. This cell has tracked all the way out of northeast Georgia, and it continues to show signs that it wants to try to strengthen, but it's not quite getting together. But as it moves into the eastern part of the upstate, within the next hour or two, or cells like this, that air mass is a bit more volatile. They haven't seen rain in Lawrence, or as much rain in Lawrence, or Spartanburg, or Cherokee, or Union counties.
Exactly, more unstable environment. So that's going to be kind of a dangerous situation. You're right. Yeah, you've been tracking that for a while, Chris, looking at that cell. But look at that, moderate risk. Myrtle Beach, Florence, Columbia, all the way up into the Raleigh-Durham area.
Get some perspective on this. It very rarely issued here in the Carolinas.
Absolutely. I mean, it only happens maybe 4 or 5 times that we actually get an enhanced risk, let alone a moderate risk. That happens maybe, once a year, maybe, anywhere in the south, especially off to our east, as you can see. So, dangerous situation, especially to our east, but it's still pretty, I wouldn't say dangerous, but we're going to have to watch the storm system closely across our area, at least through the next 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, and in fact, we are in the alert mode. We bumped it up due to the current trends with the radar. The high-resolution model keeps these storms in our area through around 2 o'clock. Let's walk you through this step by step as you're trying to plan your weekend. I mean, this is a big travel weekend. Folks going to see family or have family coming into town. Best just to wait these storms out. You don't want to be traveling in this, as we're seeing damage reports out of this. Look how they flare up by around 12, 1 o'clock. The atmosphere getting more unstable as the day goes on.
Yeah, that's what we were worried about, is that afternoon, heating and stuff. And look at that right there. You're right, going into the holiday weekend. Plus, this is a week for, I think, Greenville County schools were closed. So a lot of people vacationing, maybe at the beaches. And so they need to be on the alert. If you know of someone that's vacationing this week on the beaches of the Carolinas and Georgia, give them a call and tell them, look what's on the way for you.
Yeah, and it's just a day to be weather aware. Have a way to receive those warnings. Best way is our WYFF4 mobile app. We're streaming right now on Facebook on our app, so if your power goes out, that's such a critical tool just to keep your family safe as these storms develop. So really under the gun now through the mid-afternoon hours, and of course we're going to keep everybody posted.
Absolutely, until 5 o'clock. Look at that. Look at that line moving right through. That's just incredible. You want to take over for a while? I'll head over toward the chroma key.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll start back if you're just now joining us for Pickens County. That continues to be the strongest storm. We'll kind of reset here, show you what we're talking about. That tornado watch continuing for parts of most of the upstate, including parts of western North Carolina. You can see basically the entire state of South Carolina up through North Carolina under the gun for the potential of tornadoes. And in fact, this line is strengthening as it pushes off toward the east. Getting new damage reports here out of McDowell County, Glenwood, Harmony Grove Road near Deer Park Road, a power line and tree down there. Also a separate report there of power lines down on 221 in the mountains there. So getting damage reports as these lines move on through, and this tornado watch is the big concern here, John. And that continues to be a threat through the afternoon hours. And then as the day goes on, that threat slowly shifts toward the east, toward the I-77 corridor, where there could be an outbreak of tornadoes or severe weather.
Yeah, in a way, it'd be nice if we had some good news, Chris, in the fact that this upper level trough and this upper level low is actually closing off to our west. If it didn't do that, at least this line would move through fairly quickly. That's the problem. It's moving so slowly. The line's moving slowly from west to east, while the individual cells are moving quickly off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So all these red boxes, these are tornado watch boxes, which continue until 5 o'clock this evening. That means weather conditions remain favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms, producing possibly large hail damaging winds and maybe even a few isolated tornadoes. It does include you folks in Pickens, easily downtown Greenville, TR and Travelers Rest, all the way through the Piedmont and foothills of North Carolina. Does not include the mountains, but you've also had some flash flooding. Here's our only severe thunderstorm warning right now for you folks in Pickens, and that cell continues to make its way off to the east and northeast. Flash flood warnings farther back in Oconee County and into North Georgia. Look at all this rain. It's incredible. A lot of lightning. You folks in Pickens easily. Highway 123 all the way into Greenville now. It's starting to rain in Greenville. Let's see. Yes, still some broad circulation, Chris, but nothing really, which is good news. Moving away from the radar site. So this is, sort of there, right there. Huh? That's interesting, huh, Chris? A little bit right there. But I think -3, and then, but that's still heading over toward you folks in Travelers Rest and eventually over into Tigerville. So it'll be moving into northern Greenville County. So wouldn't be surprised to see this cell move into you folks in northern Greenville County. So it's a possibility that we might have shortly here a severe thunderstorm warning for at least northern and central Greenville County. It might include probably just north of downtown Greenville. We'll have to wait and see. Crosswell at 10:58, storm tracker shown in Travelers Rest just after 11 o'clock this morning. Tigerville at 11:08. So very, very heavy rain. If you're traveling through this mess right here, you're going to definitely have ponding of water on the roadways. So take it easy. Turn around, don't drown if you see flooded streets and roads. Look at all this rain. It's just incredible. But as I talked about earlier, with this trough digging farther and farther south, it's going to continue to slow this line down. So this is going to be a long process of very heavy rain moving across the air. These are all flash flood warnings now until this afternoon. The green are all flash flood warnings. So if you live close to a river and stream, they may rise pretty quickly, the water. Otherwise, the roads are going to get flooded. Look at that thunderstorm. And a little bit of a turn in through here, possibly. Nope, nothing there. Still that one over there, Chris, not looking too impressive. What's the chat looking like? Anybody talking right now, Chris, about the system. We always keep in contact with the National Weather Service on a live chat just to see if they get storm reports or anything like that. Let's head back over to Chris for just a second.
Yeah, watching this storm out of Pickens County continues to be the strongest on the board, and that's what we're going to see as this line moves toward the east. You'll see it fluctuate. It'll go up and down in intensity. Getting some more damage reports there in central McDowell County and in Henderson County. Multiple trees down, some power lines down. That's why we're getting these power outages there. Also, back toward Oconee County. This line that is now in parts of Pickens County has had a history of producing damaging winds back toward Walhalla, Westminster, into Salem. So now that is moving into Pickens and Easley. In fact, getting in closer here, Cedar Rock down toward Hale, right along Highway 123, some of the strongest winds in this right now. We'll ID it and kind of track it here. Again, some broad rotation, nothing that kind of streams that it's at the surface, but something that we're going to keep a close eye on here as we move into the afternoon hours. Let's put a track on this cell as it moves out of Pickens County into parts of Greenville County. We'll put a loop on it. It is moving pretty quickly, about 45 miles per hour into Pickens, Easley, up toward Travelers Rest into Tigerville. So we'll track it through Easley at 10:59, Dacusville 11:05, and then Travelers Rest at 11:13, Tigerville 11:19. So just to recap here, that tornado watch, John, continues to be the most concerning that we have right now. And of course, we're going to keep everybody posted as the day wears on.
Yeah, this red box, Chris, is the tornado watch, which goes until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Notice it does not include you folks in Oconee County, back through northeastern Georgia, and from Asheville, Hendersonville, westbound. You've just had the steady rain, so you've actually stabilized your atmosphere somewhat. But unfortunately, where you are in this area, where you're not in the tornado watch, you're actually in an area of flash flooding because this rain is so heavy, just clusters of heavy rain moving through the area. But as you can see, Elbert County, also Hart County, Pickens County, Anderson County, all the way up to Polk, Rutherford County, and also McDowell County, everything eastbound, all the way to the coast. Tornado watches go this afternoon through this evening, and the greatest threat is farther to our east. So we're looking at some of these showers and thunderstorms continuing to make their way across the area, and we'll go ahead and show the radar and see how things look right now. But that's a tornado watch for all you folks. And look at this. Look at this. Just incredible amounts of water. And unfortunately, this line, notice all the cells are moving almost very quickly off to the northeast. So, excuse me, and not to the east. So the line's not moving very much to the east. It's moving very slowly. So that's going to be our biggest problem, is we're going to continue to get this rain over and over and over again. So we're going to be looking at flash flooding across most of the area. Here's the future radar. So this is at 10:30 this morning. Notice we start to get some purple, some heavier thunderstorms start to fire up, and unfortunately this line starts to intensify as we get in toward the afternoon heating. And look at this from Asheville. Kind of really surprised in a way they didn't issue the watch farther into the mountains, Chris, don't you? For the western North Carolina, just because of the fact that some of these models are printing out, and even a second line may be forming. I was watching this last night on the computer models, that at 4:30 this afternoon, the first line going through, this line probably won't be severe, but it could produce some pockets of heavy rain. But look at this nasty weather here. This is the greatest threat for severe weather, is really from the I-77 corridor between Charlotte and Columbia, eastbound, all the way. The next 12 hours, we're in the alert mode, at least until 2 o'clock, and probably until 5 o'clock, actually, because that watch goes until 5. And what the alert mode means that severe weather is either imminent or is a very, very good chance that it's going to happen, because of the fact that we're under a watch now, and we have some warnings across the area, the flash flood warnings. We also had that severe thunderstorm warning for you folks in Pickens County. But the greatest threat for damaging straight line winds, look at this, I-77 corridor, eastbound in this purple, but still not too bad. What is that, 15? That's 30% actually across the eastern and southern, really from Greenville east, and then from the west in the yellow, 15% of some damage. And that's really our greatest threat from this storm system, is going to be flash flooding and the potential for straight line damaging winds. But again, we can't rule out an isolated tornado or two across the area, just because look at all these. These are all tornado watch boxes running all the way through from Greenville County all the way eastbound. And of course, you folks in Myrtle Beach and Charleston, Wilmington, and Raleigh, you're going to go under tornado watch boxes later on this evening, most likely. But unfortunately, Chris, look at this line, though. It's just barely crawling along. That's because that trough continues to dig in the upper atmosphere farther south, and then it starts to get cut off that low. If it didn't get cut off, at least this would swing by much quicker. But right now, look at that. Just a slow process of individual, very heavy downpours of rain associated with these thunderstorms, Chris.
Yeah, and that's the concern, is this trough becomes negatively tilted. It's starting to take on that pivot form, and it's going to unfortunately pivot right over the Carolinas, and that's what gives us that twisting and turning motion to the winds here. Watching these cells down toward Athens, that looks to be our greatest threat in the near term as it moves into Hart County, Toccoa, right up the I-85 corridor. You got two distinct lines that are really taking shape, and what's going to happen is you're going to likely see these reds that are in Pickens County and these reds down toward Athens kind of connect and try to form one line that's going to try to swing through the area as that trough is beginning to move through the area. John and I'll keep an eye on Live Super Doppler 4HD and keep you posted on air and online as the day goes on.
We now join our regularly scheduled program already in progress.